Hello and welcome to Journeys of Hope, a podcast from Blythedale Children's Hospital, inspired by the strength, resilience, and unshakable spirit of medically fragile children. My name is Rebecca Solomon, and today I'm so excited to introduce a remarkable young man whose story is one of perseverance, passion, and purpose. Andrew Cherico grew up in Washington Heights, New York, and has spent much of his life overcoming challenges associated with spinal muscular atrophy, a progressive neuromuscular condition. After receiving care at Blythedale Children's Hospital and attending school at Mount Pleasant Blythedale, Andrew is excelling in college while pursuing his dreams with determination and optimism. Andrew, it's so great to have you on this episode. Thank you.
Rebecca, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I can't wait to share my story.
Well, we certainly have a lot to get to. Why don't, to start things off, tell us a little bit about your earliest years growing up in Washington Heights.
Yeah, so I grew up in a family of four, five in the house. My dad, my mom, I had two brothers and a sister along with me. So it was a busy household for sure. I grew up in a two-bedroom, so there was a lot of beds being shared and a lot of bunk beds. Growing up in Washington Heights was a unique experience for me. I was surrounded by tons of culture, got to learn about myself, learn about my mom's history, because it is also known as Little Dominican Republic, and that's where my mom is from. But growing up in Washington Heights allowed me to be who I am today. I was born in 2003, and I was diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy in 2005 when my parents noticed that I had a limp in my walk and I was falling over a lot more than the average child. And since then, my parents had been taking me to the same hospital, which was Columbia Presbyterian, to get my biannual checkups to see the progression of my disability. And that's kind of where my core was. I was going to school in Washington Heights, going to the hospital in Washington Heights. Everything around me was Washington Heights. Sports, that's why I fell in love with sports. My dad used to take me to Jets games, Mets games, used to see the Knicks everywhere. So that's where a lot of my core foundations were set up.
Good for you. And when did sports first become important to you? And what was it about sports that really captured your attention as a kid?
Yeah, so my dad put a Jets jersey on me when I was basically came out of my mom. My dad made me a Jets fan instantly. My love for sports was, I don't even remember when I began a love for sports. It kind of just was always a part of my life. And as I grew into it, I loved sports so much. I was watching every game. My dad used to put me on the couch and watch all the games with him, watch all the baseball, watch all the football. My brothers used to watch basketball, watch it with them. And then just being able to be around a family that loves sports, and I really wanted to become an athlete myself, but I quickly realized that wasn't a realistic opportunity for me. Actually, that was part of the thing that really excelled me into loving sports even more, though, because even though I couldn't play the sports, it was almost like what I couldn't have, I wanted even more. And being around sports and being with my classmates in recess, but being unable to watch them, being unable to play, but I was sitting on the sideline of the gym watching them, or being outside in the concrete while they're running around playing tag, that kind of made me feel bad inside, but only if I knew it would further motivate me to pursue the career that I'm doing now. So I realized I still love sports more than anybody in the world, and I love to talk. So I figured I'd try to chase a field in sports communication. That's currently what I'm going for now. But my love for sports has been there since I could barely remember, and me not being able to play definitely, I would say, motivated me more to even want to be in it, because it's like I don't want to let this stop me from being in a field that I want to work in.
Fantastic. And you were diagnosed with spinal muscular atrophy and transitioned to using a wheelchair at age 9. How did that experience shape your perspective on life and your sense of independence?
Yeah, and to be honest, I was just 9 years old, so I really didn't understand everything that was happening to me. I just understood what I could, and that was that I wasn't the same as my classmates. I didn't have the same ability as my friends. I couldn't just go out to the park whenever I wanted to. I couldn't run around in recess. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't just hang out with them as easily and accessible as I would have liked to. It definitely played a factor in my self morale and my confidence growing up. I didn't want to feel like I was left out up, but I often felt like I was isolated. I tried my best to make friends where possible, and I tried to not act like I was different. But when I'm the only student in the classroom with a wheelchair, it's kind of hard to make yourself not feel different.
Yeah.
That definitely played a factor in my self morale and questioning to the higher beings, like why was I born like this? Why was I chosen to be like this? And I often end up in sad, crying nights. But little
Mhm.
did I know all this adversity would push me forward towards a better future because I realized that no matter even if I have my disability, I still have a life to live and I want to make the most out of it.
And I think you got a lot of that attitude and that mental strength when you were admitted to Blythedale Children's Hospital in 2011. You had a spinal fusion, this life saving surgery because of your limbs were actually at risk of collapsing. Tell us about the experience at Blythedale and the role the hospital staff and other patients played in your journey.
Absolutely. So starting with the surgery, I hadn't even understand at that time what was happening. My parents didn't want to scare me, so they kind of just told me, "You're gonna go to sleep for a little bit, then I'm gonna wake up." I woke up in so much pain,
Oh, no.
and then I was transferred over to Blythedale Children's Hospital for a week later after my procedure. I was at the hospital for 2 months, and that was the first time in my life I was surrounded by people who understood, and not just sharing disabilities, not sharing or being in a wheelchair, but understood the mental fortitude that it takes to be in one, understand the things that we can't do. We related on so many things like how we opened doors or how we played video games. And we just wanted to be children. I was around children who didn't have to feel different from me or didn't feel like they needed to include me because I was just like them already. And it really set up a foundation of me knowing that these are people that I can relate to because before that, I felt really lonely in my life experiences. A lot of the stuff that I couldn't do, I couldn't talk to anybody about it because while they could listen to me, they really couldn't understand me. And when I was around a group of people my age who understood, I was playing NBA with my friends late at night in their hospital rooms. I was going to recess with them and playing card games and playing board games and stuff that I really enjoyed. My dad would bring me video games to play with my friends, and that would be really just really memorable experiences that I had. And not only that, but being able to rehabilitate and get stronger and like I said, proceed to save my life. That was a part of everything that I could have hoped for in that experience. It really allowed me to feel welcomed and to feel like I was in a place that I knew could take care of me and wanted the best for me.
It's wonderful. And you were discharged from Blythedale, but you weren't completely improving at that point. And then so a couple years later in 2015, you returned to Blythedale, this time as a student at the Mount Pleasant Blythedale School through our day hospital program. And you spent 3 years at the school. So what stands out most from your time there, and how did that experience help prepare you for the future?
Just to realize my potential, when I was in public middle school, I attended 1 year of public middle school. In the 6th grade, I was there, but I wasn't really there, if that makes sense. I was able to be present, but I wasn't able to expand my bubble. I wasn't able to grow as a child growing in in a very large world. In Blythedale, there was a lot of attention. There was a lot of, acceptance, a lot of accessibility. The first day I got there, I remember I got my picture taken, got my student ID, and I was welcomed in like anybody else would be. The teachers were just so friendly. But just those kind of experiences kind of shaped me into what Blythedale wanted me to become. I know Blythedale gives everybody the tools, and it's about what you do with the tools afterwards. It gave me the confidence to know that I could succeed in this world. I was able to be in the classroom and really thrive. My grades instantly improved. I was doing really well academically. That helped shape my grades to get into university in the future as well. It shaped my foundation in terms of studying, how I wanted to connect and socialize in the classroom. I made some of my best friends to this day, meeting them at Blythedale, even if it was just for a short time, because everybody's path at Blythedale is different. But the moments that we were able to share together really shaped a lot of my younger experiences growing into my adult years now. Where, like I said, I had so many friends that I still connect with, and when we get to reconnect on Alumni Day, it's almost like nothing has changed. And we get to share our experiences of the things that we learned and all the fun times that we had. It was just overall a really, really fun time. While when I still didn't love school at the time, I was young and loved playing video games all day. That was kind of my thing. It made being at school enjoyable, and I was around a community of people who allowed me to enjoy my experience.
It's really incredible that connection and that bond that you form with other students who, as you sort of discuss, are there for different reasons. But once you are in that hospital, once you are in that school together, you're there for the same reasons and you become unified. And I got to witness alumni day, as you mentioned, and that's actually where I first met you, when you dialed in through Zoom. But people, alum, were there from, all over, either virtually or in person, and you really see that love for the school and the reunions and the friendships that were built. It's really indescribable.
It really says something about the amount of people that come back and want to share their experiences of life though with
Right.
the current youth that is there, the present that is there. Because I really do think it makes an example of how loved they were by Blythe and how much that love was reciprocated. To be able to come back every year and say your story and share the great memories that you had, to want to say hi to the teachers that you had in your younger years, that says a lot about the school and the foundation that was built within life though, because it's not just go to school and do your homework, but it's really about a family that cares for you. It's really about a place where you want to better yourself, where you want to grow as a person, where you feel comfortable. Maybe if you're not so comfortable at home, you would go to Blythedale and really feel like you can be your true self and not have to worry about outside noise or outside critics and thinking about your disability, because you know you're getting the rehabilitation that you
Right.
need, you know you're getting the education that you need. Your parents can feel safe that you're there. Your parents can feel safe that you're getting all the resources that you need to succeed, especially as you grow older. That's what's really important. And I think for families' comfortability, for yourself, safety, and just knowing that you're around such a wonderful and accepting community, I think that shows why so many people love to come back and share their story. And even outside of alumni day, but people just stopping by and saying hi, I think it says more than enough about the school and what
You're
and what
right.
they've done.
Absolutely. That's such a great way of putting it, Andrew. Thank you. And when you were at Blythedale, did you know then you wanted to pursue journalism and broadcasting, um, in sports, rather than simply being a sports fanatic? We know you love sports, but did you know at that early age that you also wanted to pursue sports broadcasting?
So as I gotten older, it was actually around the time in Blythedale that I realized that I love to speak, I love sports. Why not pursue a field in sports communication, sports reporting, however you want to put it, sports journalism? Because that's just what I knew that I loved. And that is when I actually started in one of my classes, started building out vision boards, and I photoshopped my face on NBA on TNT on one of the broadcasters, and I put one of my classmates with me because I said we could both be on TV one day. And those were just the young dreams that I had. But those dreams have quickly pursued itself and not to becoming full reality yet, but we're on the way there. So just knowing that I kind of laid those things out and that vision was imprinted in me early on, young at my days at Blythedale. It says something about how I knew I wanted to chase my dreams there. And they gave me the confidence to tell me that they believe that I can do it. Nobody ever doubted me, nor ever said that's not realistic. Everybody was 100% on board that I can eventually do what I want to do one day. All the teachers were super, super helpful and supportive and saying, if I have any contacts, I'll give it to you. If there's anybody I can put you in touch with, any recommendation letters. Those are just the kind of things that made you want to feel like you want to give back to the school. You want to give back to them for helping you at the spot that you are now today. Because without Blythedale, I don't know if I would have had the same structure, if I would have had the same support to push me in the way that I am now. It set up a lot of my foundation and what I wanted to accomplish. Eventually, while I was in Blythedale, my uncle lived in Orlando, so I took a visit to Orlando. He drove me by UCF, and they were having a really special football season in 2017, and that's when I decided, yeah, this is a school I would love to go to, and the weather in Orlando was beautiful, so
Oh, yeah.
now I'm here.
You have that confidence that you certainly need to get into broadcasting, but also to make that jump from New York to Florida, unbelievable, and that's a big change. What was that transition like for you? And why again, tell us a little more about why UCF felt like that right fit for you.
Rebecca, I'm a stubborn person. I Once I put my mind on something, I want to accomplish it. no matter the means of getting it done. I will work my butt off to accomplish anything that I want to because I promised myself in my future years that I never want to say I limited myself because of my disability. I can accept any other excuse, but when I'm older one day, I want to say I never said no to something because of my wheelchair. And that's why I put my mind to it. That's why I wanted to accomplish it. Moving to UCF was a big step in my life, and it opened so many doors and so many opportunities for me. I can't even imagine if I told my younger self that was making my vision board at Blythedale the things I would have accomplished by now. I wouldn't even believe I was a real person. That's how much my
Okay.
life has changed for the better, and I'm so grateful for it. My parents moved down to Orlando with me because they wanted to retire as well.
Oh,
Beautiful
wow.
Florida weather. I don't blame them. But I've definitely had their support along the way, and they've helped me. When I got into UCF, I was accepted into just getting into the program, but I wasn't accepted into the journalism program yet, which was excuse me, I was wrong. I accepted into the communications program, which is what I started with. And I did one semester of communications, and I'm like, this isn't what I want to do. I
Hmm.
don't want to just be public speaking. I want to work in sports. I had then applied for the journalism program, and after I applied, I learned that you needed at least 30 credits to get accepted into the program. And I'm like, I don't want to wait for anything to get started on what I know I want to do already. So I just started going to games by myself, writing blogs, connecting with fans, connecting with the media there, just introducing myself, let them know that I was an aspiring journalist. And one thing led to another, and I ended up landing an internship before I was even in the journalism program, just because I knew that's what I wanted to do. And I knew if I wanted to excel at it, I needed to put myself out in front of everybody and work as hard as I can.
Wow.
Those are just the kind of opportunities that I had in Orlando that I didn't feel like I had in New York entirely. Because while New York is such a big place with so many opportunities, it can often feel like you're lost in a bubble sometime. When I
Yeah.
got to the UCF campus, I met so many friendly people. I met so many people with open arms and met so many people that wanted me to pursue my dreams. And that's why I went for it right away. Nobody ever told me no. And that's why I wouldn't, and if they did, I wouldn't have taken no for an answer because this is what I knew I wanted to do. So now I am very successful I would say very successful in my journalism career so far at UCF. I was moving into a place where I had no prior connections. So my uncle who lives around 40 minutes away. So when I got on campus, my first goal was just to meet people and connect and try to give myself a true college experience that I never thought would be possible. I never thought I'd be able to go to all these events. I never thought I'd join a fraternity because I met with a lot of people on campus. And while I built a connection with them, I couldn't really call them any true friends. And then I met a group of people who welcomed me and invited me to a few barbecues and went bowling with them. And these are just things that I never thought I'd be able to connect with them when I was younger. But now that I'm older, they've accepted me for who I am, and I've accepted myself for who I am, and I bring great value to any friendship. And that's the kind of foundation that, Blythedale gave me. And I keep saying the foundation because it's really the beginning of everything. It began my confidence. It began my self-morale. It began my future initiatives. So that's why I say Blythedale gave me the foundation for who I am today, because they showed me that I had value and I brought value to people and I brought smiles
Yeah.
to people's faces. And those are the same smiles that I'm bringing to all my friends at UCF, to my coworkers, and to my professors as well.
And to anyone listening to this podcast, wow, you really have that personality. You have the strength, you have the smarts, you have it all. And you are only, how old are you now?
I'm 22 years old.
You're 22. So, can we just all imagine what your life is going to be like in another 10 years when your career just takes off as a sports broadcaster? It's really exciting. Speaking of sports broadcasting, you've already had a pretty big milestone in your college career and likely will be a most memorable moment for your lifetime. The moment you and Deion Sanders responded to your question after the Colorado game. I'm going to let you go into detail on this, but he told you he was proud of you. You had an opportunity to ask a quick question. I wouldn't even say interview, but maybe have a quick question with Sanders. And he told you he was proud of you. Tell us about that interaction and why it has such a profound impact on you.
This question often brings tears to my eyes, so excuse me. This changed my life. That scenario changed my life. I was covering UCF football for the network Sons of UCF. It's a local media network that's focused all on UCF sports. And it was my first time ever getting to cover UCF football. I was the youngest person in the press box, often more than not, because I was still in classes. And while I'm working with people who are coming in from ESPN, Fox, all the local Orlando major news outlets like the Sentinel, the Beach News Journal. When I learned that Colorado was coming to play UCF and I was covering the opposing beat, I was really excited to learn I was going to be able to ask Deion Sanders a question or even be in the presence of him at that. I knew this is something that I wanted to take, and this is almost like a bucket list thing for me. I wanted to ask a coach of his notoriety, his excellence in sports, a question that I had prepared all week long. So around 7 minutes left in the game, Colorado was quite frankly beating UCF pretty badly. It was a blowout at that point. I had went down to the press conference around 7 minutes earlier just to know that I would have a spot ready for me. The front row was already taken, so I miscalculated that. But I saw in the second row, the aisle seat in the second row was not taken, and I would say there was around like 50 people flooding into the room at the same time. I quickly grabbed that seat and prepared and watched everybody come in. So we're getting closer to the end of the press conference, and the Colorado media is done. I've raised my hand at that point pretty much every moment that I could. And the SID finally saw me and he pointed me out. He said, "You're next." At that moment, I felt like a heartbeat come out of my chest already. Felt all the butterflies, the butterflies come out of my stomach. And in my head at that moment, I start rehearsing my question. It was about you stopping UCF's running game because that was the main emphasis that Coach Deion Sanders was talking about going into the week all week long. So Coach Prime, I said, Coach Prime, talk about asking the question. And after answering the question, he really responds. He was like, "We did a good job, but we didn't fully stop them. But first of all, I want to say I'm proud of you." And
Mm,
when he said that, everything kind of went silent. And I just really was welcomed and was overwhelmed by the moment because
right.
I felt every head in the room turn and look at me. And he saw my wheelchair. He saw that I was
Mhm.
a student reporter. I announced myself as a student intern reporter, and he saw all kind of didn't understand my story. He didn't know who I was, but he can already see the things that I was going through. He
Mhm.
related it to his self as he's gotten older. He's been dealing with some health issues. He was in a wheelchair at one point in time. So he really understood the kind of accessibility, not accessibility, I should say, and working in fields and being able to get up every day and do the job that I do. He saw that. And that's the first person who ever told me that and really stopped an entire room full of people just to acknowledge me for that one moment. He didn't just acknowledge me, but he acknowledged the entire disabled community for
Mhm.
chasing our dreams and going through it for our passions, no matter the adversity we face on a daily basis.
That is such a story, and you will hold on to that forever.
Yeah, it's truly such a special time in my heart because not only was it such a fantastic moment for me personally, but afterwards as well, everything that happened, because I didn't initially think to post about it on my social media. The first thing I wanted to post on my social media was the news that he said about the game. And then the following day, I just
Mhm.
wanted to post like, this is a really cool thing that happened to me at the press conference last
Mhm.
night. And this is just a reminder that if you're chasing your field, people will recognize you and people will understand you for who you are. And never give up, no matter if you have a disability or not.
Mhm.
And that tweet blew up into something more than I could imagine. And so many good things followed.
It went viral. People started following you on social media. It landed you a seat at the Sports Emmys back in New York City. How did that happen?
Yes, and I just want to preface really quickly, as much as the story is about the perseverance
Mhm.
that I have been through, the challenges that I have worked through to be at the spot that I am today, it's a story about kindness. It's a story about how he took a moment of kindness and changed my life. And that's really, to me, what the story is about. I was able to attend Big 12 Media Days following that season, and connect through my new outlet that I was working for, Nights 247. They like sponsored my trip out to Frisco, Texas, where I was able to attend Big 12 Media Days. And Coach Deion Sanders was dealing with some serious health issues at the time, and they had him behind the stage. But when I saw that he came in, I wanted to say hi. And when I went up to him, he was with his son. He was with NFL football legend Michael Irvin and the Colorado SID. And I didn't have the intention of asking him a journalism question. I didn't have the intention of asking him his thoughts about the upcoming season. But quite frankly, the only thing I wanted to tell him was thank you,
Mm.
because I don't think he even understood how much just the small 15 seconds that he took out of the press conference, what it may have been a small 15 seconds for him, was the largest 15 seconds of my life.
Wow, that's great.
Those words changed the trajectory of my career in ways that he didn't understand it would. And I think that's why I reflected back on a moment of kindness, because one moment of kindness can truly change someone's life for the better. And when I was able to tell him thank you, I just was really grateful. I got a picture with him, and I was able to connect with other journalists at the Big 12 Media Conference. One of those journalists were New York Times Athletic and Fox Sports Bruce Feldman. And as a journalist myself, I was just connecting with people and wanted to make these future connections and network. And when I was able to connect with Bruce Feldman, he had caught wind of the story I was telling one of the other journalists, Andy Staples. And he's like, Andrew, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm actually interested in learning more about that story. And we just had a conversation. I would say we spoke for about 40 minutes. And then he proceeds to pull out his phone. He says, Andrew, it's okay if I record this. And in my
Wow.
mind, as a journalist, I already know, oh my God,
Yeah.
when somebody records something, that means they want to keep it for future
Yeah,
purposes.
that's gonna go somewhere. That's gonna go somewhere.
So after we got done speaking, he was like, Andrew, I would love to make this a story if that's all right. And I'm like,
Wow.
absolutely. Why I could never say no to that. I'm like 100%. And then over the next few days, he called me, got a few more details, spoke with my dad, just spoke with my supervisor at Sons of UCF as well, Adam. And just being able to be a part of that experience was crazy enough. I was featured on the New York Times. One of his favorite stories that he's done in a long time, because he said, you go to a
Incredible.
football conference, you think you're writing about a team, you think you're writing about coaches, you think you're writing about players. He wrote a story about me. He said, those are the kind of things that are real news in today's world.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's the stories that really stick with people.
exactly. And then what really meant the world to me that he did was he said, Andrew, I think this story deserves even more publicity than I can give it. I'm going to reach out to Tom Rinaldi of Big Noon Fox Kickoff and refer him to you for a story. And I'm like, whoa, because I know Tom Rinaldi. I watched all the games, sideline, he's sideline on the TV, all the NFL games, all the big championships, he's there. So just to hear that that's even a possibility in my mind, that was crazy. And then short 2 weeks go by, I don't really hear anything, and then in my casual college stuff, I'm playing video games with my friends, we're hanging out, we're talking, and I get a text on my phone, and it comes up, maybe Tom Rinaldi, and I look at the message, and it says, "Hey, Andrew, Bruce Feldman gave me your contact. I'd love to connect with you for a story for Big Noon Fox," and I almost threw my phone across the room. I said, I couldn't believe it. I
Wow.
didn't wanna answer right away because I didn't wanna seem desperate, like I was just waiting for a text. So I kinda let it sit there for 5 minutes. 5 minutes was the most I can wait. I got desperate and texted back immediately. I couldn't say no. It was like at 10 o'clock at night, which is a really funny part too. That's why I'm like, "Oh, do I answer right now? Do I wait till the morning?" No, I
Right.
told him immediately. I'm 100% interested. I would love to. Because for me, it's not only an opportunity to further expand my voice and the career that I want to pursue, but give action and recognition to the disabled community and people chasing their dreams, especially in sports, because I know a lot of heroes that I have who have disabilities and work in sports, and I want to inspire the youth one day the way that I was able to grow into at UCF, because I didn't have many idols growing up. Not a lot of people worked with disabilities in sports. It wasn't only until I reached college where I realized I had a lot of friends who did it. But I didn't have that kind of role model growing up, but I want to be that role model to people growing up like I did once. But yes, after Tom Rinaldi, he appeared in my apartment. In my apartment, I'm like, well, this is crazy that you're even here right now. Came with $100,000 camera crew and stuff like that. It was crazy equipment, and it was just a wonderful time. And the really unique part that I love to share is he was interviewing me, but I was also in my mind taking notes of how he was interviewing me while I was answering the questions. Because I'm like, this guy does exactly what I want to do one day. So I want to take as much as I can from him and his strategy and his skill and implement it into my own. And being able to do that was so much fun. And then the story went on the air, it went viral. So many people at UCF going to the games afterwards, recognizing me. And I wanted to stop and say hi to each person because it truly meant the world that they saw Andrew Cherico for who he was and not
Mm.
just a disabled reporter, but a reporter with a disability. That means something to me. I don't want to be recognized because of my wheelchair. I want to be recognized because of my work. And then you can say it's even more impressive in the fact that he does it in a wheelchair.
Mhm.
That's a very stark difference to me. And that's something that I take a lot of pride in. So being able for people being able to say like, I love your work, that truly means the world to me. And eventually later on, I would say it was around what is it, 3 months afterwards, I get a text from one of the producers, Scott, and he tells me, "Hey, Andrew, our story just got nominated for an Emmy." I'm like, "Get the heck out of here." And he's like, "No, for real. It's I know the Jets just can't really encompass what the Jets are currently doing, but hopefully this can
Right.
make up for it." And I was just laughing. I was at an event, working at an event at UCF. When I got that text, I had to go outside for a minute and just, like, smile and call my mom and dad just
Oh,
to
I
share the
love
news.
that. Oh my
Because
gosh.
I was like, I couldn't hold that in. I started telling my supervisor, he was like, "Guys, you won't believe it." And I got he sent me the screenshots and everything. I went ahead and posted that. And it was unfortunate because I didn't really get too much into this, but I was planning I learned that the sports Emmys were taking place in late May in New York. I planned on being in New York for my brother passed away 7 years ago on the day of the Emmys, May 26th, and
Oh,
he was one of my biggest supporters and motivators that I've had. So I felt like that entire week was just him showing me the amount of love
wow.
that he has, and even if he's not here to be with me in person, he was there with me spiritually the whole week. So I plan on being in New York, going to visit his grave.
And thank you for sharing that part. I didn't know that about your brother, and
Yeah,
he must be looking down and just unbelievably proud of you
thank you.
for all you've done so far and what you'll continue to do.
Yeah, he was the person telling me that I need to start my sports media. He was my biggest like I said, if I was playing video games in my room, he was like, "You should stream yourself playing video games." If I was talking about sports, he's like, "You should stream yourself talking about sports." He was telling me that since I was younger, and I was just a kid, so I didn't really understand. I didn't want to be bothered with all the extra work, but I know if I can see him right now, it would really make him proud. And I visited his grave the day before the Emmys, and I was just able to have a private moment with him and
I'm
cry a
so
little
glad you
bit
had that time.
and be
I'm
able to
so
talk.
glad you had that
It
time.
was it was truly, truly special, and being able to attend the next day and meet people and shake hands with people that I'd seen on TV growing up and meet with the people who made my story and really get to tell them thank you in person again. It's hard not to feel imposter syndrome in an environment like that, especially still being in college. Once again, Deion Sanders didn't know what he was doing with those 15 seconds of words, but
Right?
those words led to that exact moment that one day I will be interviewing Deion Sanders one on one one day.
You sure will. And with everything that you've learned so far, and all the messages and the advice and the learning experiences up to this point, what would you say to a young person living with a disability who has big goals but isn't sure whether these goals are achievable?
Yeah. Um, it's hard. I can't sugarcoat it. I go into work and multiple chairs have to be moved out the way. There's some entrances that I can't go through because they're not accessible. It's harder for me to get my bag from behind my chair, take my notes quicker than any person. I can't run anywhere particularly. But if it's truly something you're passionate about and it's truly something you love to do, don't let anything stop you. Really put yourself out there, meet people, say hi, take advantage of every opportunity that you can. Because my younger self, I never thought this would ever be a reality, that I would be on my screen talking to you about this moment that I am right now. But sticking with it, when I made my account, my Twitter account, I was talking to no one for the first 2 to 3 months. I was really happy at just 1 like. A lot of people would get discouraged by that. a lot of people would say, maybe this isn't for me. But I stuck with it. I bent, but I didn't break. And I think that's a model that we all need to live by. Life gets hard. Life throws so many curveballs. There's so many challenges at you, no matter which way you look. But your ability to load up your bat and swing right back, that's what really shows a person's true testament. Or anything. I have this quote from my brother. It was his favorite quote as well. What defines us is how well we rise after falling. Uh, Nobody's really defined by how they are at their best moments of life, but at their worst moments and how they bounce back from it. Because that says all the adversity and perseverance that you've been through and the perseverance that you need to get through it. Um, so please, I wish I can give more special advice, but if you're truly passionate about something, continue pursuing it
Mm.
and really love what you do because it can take you a long way.
Yeah, I I'm speechless. You are just such a role model, and you've already had such an impact in the sports industry, in college, back at Blythedale with your family, and really the best is yet to come for you. Looking back over all you've accomplished at this young age, how would you say Blythedale played a role in this?
Yeah. And Blythedale was everything that I needed in my childhood to become who I am today. I was able to find myself. I was able to build the confidence, find my value in connections with people. While I was often in my other schools, I was hindered by the ability that I couldn't run at recess, that I couldn't throw the basketball into the hoop, that I couldn't play tag with them. I didn't find value in myself in those situations, and that's
Mm.
where I found my value, was at Blythedale. I felt welcomed, loved. I felt like I can really grow into the person I am today. Being at Blythedale really showed me that I am a person of value, that I'm a person who has goals and dreams to achieve, that I'm a person who will go through adversity, but I will persevere through it. I'm a person who will connect with friends, who will make memories, and that I'm a person who will love and be loved.
Oh my gosh. I think we just collected like 80 new quotes for the quote book. You are just a human quote, and it is so beautiful to hear and to listen to. And thank you for just opening up and sharing your journey with us. I do have one more question for you.
Absolutely.
How would you describe the meaning of hope?
Hope is an undetermined, undenied waiver of faith. Hope is what keeps us pursuing our dreams. If we didn't have hope, what are we really chasing? If we didn't have hope, what are we looking forward to? Hope is what wakes us up in the morning. Hope is what takes us through our morning routine, brushing our teeth, combing our hair, putting on our fragrance, and giving our day the best shot that we can. Hope is what allows us to continue being innovative and continue pursuing our dreams. Because without hope, it's just you're living in the monotone. You're living without a purpose. And when you have hope, like I do, and I have so much hope that I can accomplish so many great things and share so many great stories, like I am today with you, Rebecca. Thank you for having me here. Hope is what allows me to want to continue to be the best person I can and attack every day with my best foot forward.
Mm. Full of hope, full of purpose, full of it all. We're so excited for you, Andrew. Thank you for being our guest on this episode. I can't wait to continue to see how you thrive and flourish in your career and
Thank
in
you.
your personal life. It's going to be great to see.
Thank you. And hope is what will allow me to eventually give that hope to others growing
Yeah,
up like I did.
you'll pay it forward for sure.
Thank you, Rebecca. I truly appreciate you having me.
Thank you, Andrew. Such a great conversation. And we hope everyone listening or watching has enjoyed this episode of Journeys of Hope. Of course, if you have ideas for future topics, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at podcast@blythedale.org. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and like and follow us on social media. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.